Si je
Смотри,
tombe,
если я
tu
упаду, ты
retournes au
вернешься в Италию.
Et si vous ne tombez
А
pas,
если не упадете?
Qu'est-ce qui te ferait plaisir?
Чего ты хочешь?
devenir français.
Стать французом,
Il n'est
сир.
pas bon d'être italien.
Сейчас в Париже презирают итальянцев.
Mon cœur
Но сердцем
est
я
français,
француз,
c'est
сир,
l'autre
ло
jour.
джуро.
Il reste juste
Противится
la
лишь
langue.
мой язык, но если
S'il vous
хотите,
plaît, votre majesté,
я
j'ai pu la couper.
отрежу его.
En vérité,
Agree. Everything said in this dialogue makes you think about many things. Therefore, let's start from the beginning. Namely, why and how, as the young man Giovanni Battista, later the founder of the traditional French school, became what he know him today. And so, Giovanni was born in 1632 into a simple Italian family from the outskirts of Florence. His father, Lorenzo Lully, was a miller, and his mother was a miller's daughter. According to the baptismal certificate of the parish of Santa Maria sul Prato, he was baptized the very next day after his birth, thus November 29th, 1632. His godparents were Antonio Comparini and Maddalena Balleri. Around 1645, he was noticed by Roger de Lorraine, who was a member of the House of Guise, the younger French branch of the House of Lorraine. In fact, this status was not the least in the complex French monarchical system. Arriving in France the following year, he entered, at the age of 14, as a chamberlain to Roger's niece, the Duchess of Montesquieu, known as the Grande Mademoiselle, who wanted to improve her knowledge of the Italian language. But finding him ugly, she sent him to the kitchen. At the same time, the Duchess maintains a small private orchestra, whose 6 violins give many concerts. Thus, Lully studies violin, harpsichord, music theory, and composition. Perhaps he takes lessons from Nicolas Mentru, or organist Nicolas Gigot, and François Robertet. He is also an excellent dancer. Finally, his talents were recognized, and he created a troupe of violin mademoiselles for his patroness. She is very proud of them because they play better than the king. One way or another, Lully already in 1652 entered the service of the Royal Grand Violin Orchestra, which consisted of 24 instruments. And the very next year, he dances with a 15-year-old Louis in the Royal Ballet de la Nuit, the Royal Ballet of the Night. And now it's time to return to the original dialogue, to the one in which Lully says that his heart is no longer beating as Italian, but in French one. What did he mean? The fact is that the creative intelligentsia who did not feel the strong attachment to the origins of their native land do not combine their talent with an attempt to develop within the place of their birth and social and everyday environment. In fact, this is useful maximalism lingering inside their talents, an unending rebellion against their own roots. And in Russia, such a phenomenon in the form of creative intelligentsia is very familiar since the time of Peter the Great. But Russia has its own difference, how it was born into the light of the day. But the difference is insignificant. Nevertheless, these figures, starting from the middle of 19th century, began to pull out the soil of their fatherland from under their feet with incredible force. They were too disgusting among the common people, but such an extermination of everything native from oneself is, in fact, inherent in any immigrant. And here we are talking about the conquest of their position within newly found homeland. Listen carefully to how this happened with Lully. And in fact, where does he get such a gigantic desire to defeat the Italian inside himself? Did the same chemistry arise between the young king and the visiting Italian? Or was it a mutual deal for the future full monarch with the same enterprising composer? I think yes. Both facts were present. Each of them, that Louis and Giovanni, understood how important they were to each other. As a result, Giovanni Battista Lully was naturalized as a Frenchman in 1661. Since then, his name has been spelled and pronounced Lully. On July 24, 1662, he married in Paris in the French church of Saint-Eustache, Madeleine Lambret, daughter of Michel Lambret and Gabrielle Dupuy. From this union, 6 children were born. It is absolutely clear that Louis' affection for already named John affected all important state events. On a summer day in 1683, Maria Teresa, after 23 years of marriage, the king's wife dies, and Lully writes De Sire and De Profundis on the death of his patron wife. These funerals were the most grandiose. But one cannot fail to remember that the work of Lully is closely connected with Molière, thus whom Louis adored for his satire of the court estate. But this is a separate conversation. In the meantime, let's listen together once again to unforgettable fragments from the entire legacy of Lully. Until we make a point, but already now we all have the following picture. Lully or Lully, no matter how he called himself, was an adopted genius. All the further development of his art is the form of Lullists, such as Cusa absolutely confirms his status as a genius.